26th. It's a Wednesday, and today's a very special day in the Philippines because today is the remembrance of the 1986 power revolution in the Philippines that causes the downfall of Ferdinand Marcos. I think I'm pronouncing that right. So today is 40 years since the fall of his dictatorship regime, or as he called it, a dictator democracy, I think he said. He took control, I think, in 1965 and continued control of the Philippines all the way to 1986, going against the Constitution at the time that was established after World War II. So today we're celebrating 40 years of the power revolution. And what makes this revolution so much different than other revolutions, that not a single shot was fired. Yeah. Well, at least that's what I read, that not a single shot was fired, that he more or less stepped down and got arrested and placed in jail. Which is weird, though, because today's the 40th anniversary, yet it's his son. It is his son that is now in charge of the Philippines. Oh, big circle, huh? Well, let's hope he does a little bit better than his daddy. What the? Shh, quiet! Cat. Cat's pregnant again. So today is a special live for the revolution of the Philippines, power revolution, I think they call it, which is weird though. South Korea also had a revolution. I forgot when. Let's see. What year? I think it was almost the same time. Let me see. Let's check. Google. Wow, it's about the same time. So in 1986, the Philippines became a democracy after almost 20 years of dictatorship under Ferdinand Marcos. South Korea also became a stable democracy in 1987, between 1987 and 1988, following the June Democratic struggle, which forced the ruling military regime to accept direct presidential elections. The current Democratic Constitution was adopted on October 1987 and took effect in February 1988, ending decades of authoritarian rule and military coup. Wow, a lot of little revolutions back then, huh? 86, the Philippines, 87 or 88, South Korea, and stuff. Well, so yay, good day. Of course, we know America's revolution was in 1776. Our founding fathers. So, I am currently living in the Philippines. If you have any questions, I don't know how many people are up at this time, but we're just going to do this little one just before my daughter goes to school, just to celebrate this special day, which is weird though. So this is kind of like the Philippines 4th of July. Well, I don't know. Was it 4th of July more or less when they became free from America? Which I think was July. They finally got their independence in July 4th. I think it was July 4th. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's July 4th, 1946. And so that was when we gave back the Philippines to them. But it's amazing though that today, being such a special day, that there's still school. Now my wife told me that in Manila, they're actually celebrating. They actually get 3 days off. So they get Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off, which also Saturday, Sunday, so I guess they have a long vacation, while the province just seems to maybe ignore it. I don't know. But, you know, yeah, so happy Power Revolution Day. day in 1986 when the fall of Ferdinando, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that, Ferdinando Marcos, and the beginning of the democracy, which is almost now 40 years in the making. Pretty good, not bad. All right. I thought I'd wear my Ukraine shirt because, you know, he is fighting for his country's independence and freedom from the control of Russia. Anyway, let's go and see what the day looks like today. And guess what? It's a rainy day again. It's always a rainy day. Maybe once in a while we get a little sunshine, but it's raining. Oh, there's the murder vans. Now, I call them murder vans because they cause so many accidents, so many deaths, not only in Leyte and on this national highway, but everywhere in the Philippines. Which I think maybe they wouldn't do if you had more cops out there, like, I don't know, enforcing traffic regulations. Now, they do those, like, stops where they pull people over to check their registration, make sure they're wearing helmets and stuff like that. But not so much for speeding, huh? But then again, I guess a lot of countries besides the U.S. is moving away from the whole speeding thing. Unless there's an accident and stuff, they don't really do much. Like in Japan, they don't really pull people over for speeding if they go over a certain speed because they'll just capture them on a camera and send them a ticket. Which I think is a lot better because it brings down the aspect of conflict between the police officer and civilian. Well, let me know if you have any questions about the Philippines. I'll be glad to answer them. I am married to a Filipino. I've been married to my wife for 5 years. We've been together 10 years. And we are currently living in the province of Leyte. Let me go and log in case some people do. You know what? We were traveling live. Let's go see where we're traveling. All right, let's see if this live gets anything. All right, I'm gonna let y'all look at that while I go get something to drink. Hey, welcome over to my wife's telling me to throw this away. I'm back. Got myself a little morning snack. Well, I would think, why don't I drink coffee? I don't like coffee that much. I may drink it once in a while. Eating my morning snack, Planters cocktail peanuts. I got these from Metro Mart, which I like because I love these peanuts, especially if you're drinking. Once again today is Power Revolution Day in the Philippines. 40 years of democracy under its constitution, new constitution, after the fall of Ferdinand Marcos in 1986. And he ruled the Philippines from 1965 to 1986. And I think somewhere in the 80s or 70s he did declared martial law. I'm not specific what year that was. I think it was the early 80s or maybe late 70s. We have this cat that my wife feeds as a stray cat. This cat gets pregnant every 6 months, it seems like. I don't know why we're having babies. I think once I saw the babies, and they were dead within 2 weeks. So I don't know what happened to these babies. They're probably dead too. God, kitty cat just can't keep her legs closed. No, this live is only going to go to about 7, I think. It's going to be a short live, but gotta get my daughter ready for school. You know, I think to myself, why are they going to school? Today's Power Revolution Day. It's like 4th of July, man. They shouldn't have no school. Because they have no school, then I'm going to keep going back and forth. I think that was like when I was a kid. When I was a kid in elementary school, since we had like a neighborhood school, we would wake up and just walk to school, and after school we would just run home. And we have like a competition. Went to Jefferson Davis Elementary School in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, between Southeast 44th Street and Sheridan Street. So like I say, today's Revolution Day. That's why I'm wearing my Ukraine shirt. Revolution for the Ukrainians to get away from the rule of Russia. This weekend I need to get a haircut, trim the old beard, maybe dye the beard, get all gray. I just want to look young in the Philippines. I don't want to look old. I'm not an old man. I'm a man in my 30s. But technically, I'm almost 50. But this gas station's been closed for a while. Over there? No trespassing, private property. Oh, wow, they are closed. They must have removed the pumps recently. Jimma! Did you realize the petrol and gas station removed their pumps? Oh, I didn't realize that. Man, it's going to be hard to sell that land. Because even in America, if you have an old gas station, it's hard to sell. Unless you're going to turn it into another gas station. If you don't, you turn it into like a commercial property, you got to dig up those giant gas tanks underneath the ground. Have EPA survey it, make sure there's no leaks or anything or thing like that, and then you have to completely rebuild. Gas stations are a good property if they're in a certain area, but I never get. They have 7-Eleven here, so I don't know why the petrol and gas stations and 7-Elevens don't team up and create more like a gas station like America. I feel they would get more gas and more people would come in and buy food and stuff like that. I'm thinking about going to Japan. I haven't been in a while. Right now I'm thinking about when my daughter's out of school in April and May, me and my wife were thinking about maybe traveling to some country, either South Korea, if we can get her a visa, which I think we could. But I don't know what the requirements are. Of course, me and my daughter, because we have American passports, we can just walk in. Also, next week, we're getting my wife Filipino passport. Renewed? I'm not going to say renewed. She's changing the name. So instead of Gemma Racoma, it's going to be changed to Gemma Knows. And then we're also getting my daughter, who was born in the Philippines, which makes her a Filipino. So, you know, she's born, even though she's a U.S. citizen too, she can also get Filipino citizenship. So we're going to go get my daughter's Filipino passport. I don't know how that works though, you know what I mean? So if my daughter flew into the Philippines with an American passport, can she fly out with the Filipino passport? Or would it be a record saying, hey, you came in there as an American passport? Oh. Never had dual citizenship. My daughter's watching TV right now. She's watching Dr. Bidops. If you know what it is, you know what it is. It's a great show learning about science. And yes, I'm going to be one of those followers. I'm going to be pushing my daughter more towards math and science. We are trying to get her to speak better Tagalog. So we enrolled her in a 1-hour Tagalog class for a private tutor, teaching her Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and that's going to start next week. To be live, live, live. It's going to be live, live, live. I know y'all prefer lives in Angeles City, or not really. I did a live in Angeles City with my wife and her friend Kimberly, and almost nobody watched it. They watched it after the fact, I guess, but not so much watching it. And then I did lives in Makati, nobody watched it. I guess you just keep pushing out the lives, huh? Maybe I should do it every day. I don't know. I should do it every morning, so people say, oh, he does it every morning. I guess I could do a live at 6 a.m. every morning. I don't know what I'll talk about, because unless I got people in the room, I don't know what much conversation I can get. All right, so I guess I could tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a military brat. My dad was in the Navy for about 25, 26 years. He retired as a Navy's Master Chief. I think that's what it's called. Master Chief? I think that's what it's called. An E8? He served aboard the original John F. Kennedy aircraft carrier in Virginia Beach, Virginia. It's up at Oceana Naval Base. But my parents got divorced when I was young, and so I think like 2 or 3 years old. I don't remember. But my dad got full custody of us, all of us kids, and we were sent to his parents, my grandparents, home in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I think when I was 3 or 4. I want to say 4. Because I did go to kindergarten in Oklahoma, so I hadn't been there before that, so I'm thinking 4. And there I was raised in Oklahoma from kindergarten all the way to 6th grade or 7th grade, middle school. So I went to elementary school in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, at Jefferson Davis Elementary. If you know, you know. It's closed down now, but it was a great school. And then after that, I went to Webster Middle School. That's what we call it in Oklahoma, middle school. When I moved to the East Coast, they call it junior high. And so around that time, around 6th grade or 7th grade, we moved back. My dad finished his career in the Navy. Well, all of us kids and my grandparents, we all moved to Virginia Beach, Virginia, and started going to school there, middle school and high school there. That's about it, really. When I was a kid, I really liked DuckTales, so I watched. What was it? Well, I watched DuckTales. I liked Scrooge McDuck. Even as a kid, once I first got my first job, I started buying comic books and I started buying gold coins. And so I was more into gold coins than silver coins at the time because, in DuckTales, Scrooge McDuck was diving in the money bin of gold coins. So I started investing in gold back then. I don't remember how much it was. I want to say it was like $2.86 an ounce for gold back then, or $300 an ounce back then. I forgot. They also got into comic books at that time too. This is the time of the big comic book boom, when places like Marvel were printing like 1 million copies of comic books. I was during the era of comic books when Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld were really big in comics. Ed Bagley, who drew Spider-Man. What's that guy? Oh God, I forgot his name. The guy that draws Savage Dragon. Also during this time, they also had the comic books like Image Comics started coming out, and Valiant Comics. So those are the big ones. DC Comics, Marvel Comics, Image Comics, Valiant Comics, and then a little bit Malibu Comics. I don't know if anybody knows Malibu Comics. And so I did that, got my job. After that, I joined the military, served in the United States Army, married, served in the Army, enjoyed my time. I was a 92 Alpha 10, which is a automated logistics specialist, belonging to the Army Quartermaster Corps. Yeah. I look up because we're warehouse. We do a lot of warehouse work. Quartermaster does warehouse work too, but we do other works too. We have like 3 different jobs we can work at. We can work like a SARS system in the warehouse. We have the OLS-G system, which was like a company level or battalion level, like in motor pools and stuff. And then we could also work as like the SAM's office and stuff. So we had a lot of different systems we had to learn. But we were also, most of the time, if you're in the warehouse, when it comes to like fighting in war, people think, oh, you're just quartermaster, you don't do that. No, we are, most of us are assigned as QRF, which is quick reactionary force. If the base gets under attack, we're the ones that come and set up a perimeter and stuff like that. So I enjoyed my time in the military. There were some difficulties there, being military and all. After that, I went to university, got a degree in digital media production and film. After that, I worked about 2 years in California, trying to get a job, but everybody just kept offering internship. No money. So I didn't like that. I did help make one movie. It's called The Butcher House. So that makes sure that I got an IMBD page with my name on it as a production assistant. All that. But then me and my friends, we were working hotel. I was working security hotel at Marriott with my brother, and we had 2 friends, Heather and Sky, who also, Heather worked there at the same hotel as the front desk, night auditor. And one day we decided, hey, how about we all go teach English in South Korea? And this was back in 2007, 2008. And we were like, yeah, why not? Let's go do that. I thought it was going to be an adventure. And that's what we did. We went to South Korea, started teaching. My first teaching area was Bundong, South Korea. Worked at BIS, Bundong International School. Me and my brother worked there for 1 year. We liked it so much, we decided to renew our contract. Well, we technically had to leave because they changed the requirements for ESL teachers, so we had to actually leave America, get an FBI background check, get it apostille and certified and all that stuff. Then we went back to South Korea, and there I taught for like another 11 years. Yeah, about 11 years. No, about 10 years. 10 years, I think. Yeah, about 10 years, 10 or 11 years. Because I did 5 years. It was 11 because I did 5 years at GKI school, and then I did another 5 years at Herald School, and then 1 year at BIS school. And honestly, I enjoyed living in South Korea. Oh my God, it's so much more relaxing than America. I had a great job. At my height, I was getting paid about $3,000 a month. I got a free apartment. In my second one, the electricity was paid for already. All I really had to worry about was paying my cell phone and the internet. Every weekend was free, except for maybe every 3 months, one Saturday you had to do like a field trip day with the kids. But almost every weekend was free. We would go out and party a lot with the other ESL teachers and some Korean friends. From like Jason, Josh, Rosie, so many friends. And we would go out partying, and we would go places like Hongdae, Itaewon, Gangnam, what's that one called? Myeongdong, Dongdaemun, and stuff. So it was a great place to live, really relaxing. And the only reason I stopped teaching, because when I lived in South Korea, I could travel to many countries. Czech Republic I went to, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, Bali, or Indonesia, and the Philippines. And that's where in the Philippines where I met my wife. And when I met my wife there, that's when I decided to leave my job in South Korea and marry her and get a K1 visa in America. And so far we've been together for about, married 5 years, together 10 years. There goes that. Here we have my father-in-law cleaning and wiping down the trike. I really hope more people watch this after the fact. Don't get too many people watching it live. You know, I'm thinking about doing a video called "What's Up with the Expats?" Because I met a few expats, and with the exception of a few, these expats are like, God, I don't want to be insulting, but you know, in high school, you had popular kids and you had the nerds, not nerds, but you know, the unpopular kids. Because, you know, by the time I started going in high school, you know, you could still be popular and be smart and stuff. Because I was on honor row and stuff like that. It's still popular. But I feel like a lot of expats that come here, especially the ones you see on TikTok and stuff like that, I feel like a lot of them are introverts. A lot of them never really lived their lives. They probably just feel like they got married when they were young in America and then had just a shitty life, and they got divorced. They either associate with their kids or don't associate with their kids, and then they decide to come to the Philippines or Vietnam and bring their American or traditional Western views to the Philippines. And so, I had one guy I was watching, the expat. He was like, you know, when you go on the first date, you know, in the Philippines, you know, there's some men that will tell the person to split the bill, and he's like, That's what wokeism is. And I asked him, like, can you define what woke is? He couldn't, of course. It's like, I don't know, my grandmother was very independent as a woman, and I guess I was raised up on that. My grandfather respected that too. And I never get it when men want to kind of classify women as like second class citizens and shit. I never get that. I never got it. Women, like Tupac said, women do more in the world than men do. And so they're the ones that have the babies, they're the ones that raise the children, they're the ones that help the world. And I don't know. My life, I was always about drinking, partying, having sex, having fun. But sometimes when you see these expats, they seem very scared at approaching women. And so, unless it's like on a dating site where they have the safety of their computer keyboard. I never did that. I never did internet dating. Always found it more productive to go out to a bar or a club or anywhere and meet a girl in person. Because unlike a keyboard, you can take her out that same day you meet her, or you meet her in a club, and guess what? On that same day, you can also take her back to your apartment or house or hotel, and bada bing, bada boom. Can't do that on a keyboard. And so, but I never got, like even in South Korea, when I went to clubs and stuff, and I went with some of my friends, and I'm like, oh my God, look at that girl there. She's hot, let's go talk to her. And they're like, oh no, let me get some drinks in me first. They're like, drinks in you? I'm like, all right. I mean, just one time I took out like me and like 4 or 5 guys went out together, right? And I'm the kind of guy that don't like to be too crowded in the club. If the club's too crowded, I would usually just get a table, like a VIP table. All that usually was in South Korea was to buy a bottle of alcohol. And there, unlike America, they didn't charge like $1,000 for a bottle. These low clubs in like Hongdae, they would only charge like maybe 100 to 150,000 won for a bottle of like vodka, tequila, whatever. And we were at this bar. I forgot the bar, but I remember it clearly. But we would go, and I saw these like Asian girls. Well, at first I thought they were Korean, but they're actually Chinese. And I was like, let's go talk to those girls. They're pretty, they're hot. And there were like 3 or 4 of them and stuff. And they were like, no. I don't. Well, let's just see here. So I'm like, dude, what's the point of going to a club if you're not going to talk to women? And they're like, well, what if they say no? I'm like, and some of these guys were more attractive than me, like way more than attractive than me. And I was like, what the fuck? And I guess they're out of their comfort zone from wherever country they came from. And I was like, just talk to them. Because my aspect when going to a bar or club is that the worst thing a girl can say to you is no. And if they say no, you just move on to the next girl. Because, statistically, somebody's going to say yes. Somebody will find this face to be handsome. So, my wife sure did. She saw this and was like, I'm going to lock that shit down. And guess what? She locked that shit down. Let's see, what time is it? Oh. All right, I got to end this live in about 7 minutes. Got to get my daughter ready for school. Maybe in 7 minutes. Depends. If my baby takes a bath tomorrow, she took one last night, but sometimes my wife wants to also take one in the morning and night. I'm a guy. 1 bath a day. 1 shower a day. No more. No less. Honestly, I was always, in my life, I was always more of a night shower. So I always take a shower at night, and then I'm fresh in the morning, and then just go to work, and I don't take a shower in the morning. And I've always been that way. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Are you a person that likes to take night showers and be ready for the next day, or you like to wake up the next day and take morning showers? I've always been a night shower guy. Even in South Korea, one time when I got, this was like a little Russian bar in Omokyo. Omokyo, near Omokyo Station, which is in Mokdong area. and stuff. There's this like amazing Russian bar that was in basement level B1, and sometimes me and my friend Josh, we would go there even on school nights where we know we had work the next day. We were like, oh, let's go get a drink. It's after work. Let's go grab a drink. And we would go grab a drink and stuff. And we always tell ourselves, oh, we're just going to drink till 11 p.m. and then go. But, you know, we're always trying to pick up the Russian girls and stuff like that. Especially this one Russian girl. There's so many of them. But there's one Russian girl named Eugenia. There's one Russian girl named Erica. Erica was hot, though. She had this, like, blonde hair, blue eyes, kind of short hair like hair. But we would always say, let's just drink a little bit. And then next thing we know, it's like closing time is 3 o'clock in the morning, and we have to be at work. And, well, I had to be at work at 8:40 in the morning. Josh came later because he didn't taught morning classes. And so, but I taught morning classes, evening classes, afternoon classes, every class. I literally worked from 8:40 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. But I never found it tiring because I always thought, out of all the jobs I had in the world, I think teaching was the most fulfilling. I enjoyed teaching kids. I enjoyed making them learn. But when all the kids score high on their tests and exams, like over 90% on all of them, it makes me feel happy. It makes me feel like I accomplished something. And then when the parents come in and thank you for teaching their kids and show gratitude, it's amazing. And so I had one teacher that liked it so much from a previous teacher they had to me, liked me so much that I helped turn around her son from like more like I guess he more or less made like 70s or 80s when it says, but then when he started coming to my class, he started making 90s, and she rewarded me with $100 or 100,000 won gift card to Starbucks. And so now, like I say, I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I used the money to either buy a hot chocolate. Plus, it was a really cute girl at Starbucks that I like flirting with. And I would like buy, those French macaroon cookies. I would buy those French macaroon cookies, and I would bring them to the other teachers the next morning and stuff. I did that a lot. I always like to be even in the military I did that. I would bring donuts like every other day for the soldiers that worked under me. Or if I worked in the motor pool, then I'd bring donuts for the entire motor pool. But yeah, in Korea, I would bring like either pastries. I would go to Paris Baguette, buy lots of pastries and have them out there for the teachers in the morning. So when they got into work, they saw it. Because I was usually the first teacher in. To the point where I came in so early that the director actually gave me keys to the door so I could get myself in. It was either me or another teacher that would be coming early too, the front desk person. But yeah, I always found it nice to do that. And I always do what is known as payday snack. Payday snack was where I, every payday, which was on the 10th of each month, I would get in school early, create this little note like, woohoo, it's payday, or something like that, and show like a pot of gold or something like that. And I would always give them like a sweet, like a Hershey chocolate bar or a Kit Kat bar or something like that, and I would put it on their desk in the morning, so when they came in, they read the thing and say, oh, it's payday, yay. Those are like little things I did to just make the learning environment more fun with other teachers and stuff. So I like that. Anyway, once again, we're here today because today is Happy Liberation Day, Power Revolution Day. It is today, February 25th, 2026, 40 years ago. Yes, 40 years ago. I was like, what was I, 9 years old? I was 9 years old. 40 years ago, the Philippines had what is known as Power Revolution, and during this Power Revolution, they toppled the dictator at the time, Ferdinand Marcos, I forgot how to pronounce his name, but he toppled him. And it was considered one of the amazing revolution because in 1986, they did it without firing a shot. Like, it wasn't a bloody war between it and stuff. So we're celebrating 40 years of that. which is weird because Boom Boom Marcos is I believe is the son of Ferdinando Marcos. So he's literally celebrating the day that his dad got toppled as a dictator from the Philippines. Uh, I don't know who the first president was after Ferdinando Marcos. I think it was somebody named Quezon. Quezon. Leave it in a comment below if you know who it was. But it's kind of weird. The 80s was really different because also in South Korea, who was also controlled by a military dictator. South Korea had its revolution in 1987, 1 year after the Philippines. And between 87, they had their revolution to free South Korea from the dictator there and became a democracy where they can vote on presidents. They're still infinite. They just recently had a South Korean president that tried to do an insurrection, military coup. He got shot down within like 8 hours. Oh, bravo, South Korea. Bravo. That's how you take care of a would-be power-hungry man and stuff. And he just recently, I think 2 days ago, got sentenced to life in prison. And which is weird because he was before he became president, he was a prosecutor in South Korea, and he actually was a high-end prosecutor, and he actually prosecuted 2 former South Korean presidents for the same, not for insurrection, but for corruption. It was that, I don't know who the first one was. I know the second one was that female president, Park. And her daddy was the dictator that controlled South Korea all that time until 1987. So they elected her. So which is weird. So she was the daughter of the dictator, but she was elected as president of South Korea. But then she got taken down because of corruption. And there's a lot of Korean presidents that actually got in trouble for corruption or something like that. I guess they're still learning. But none of them did try to do an insurrection, until this recent one. Yeah. And it's also amazing that right now the current president of the Philippines is the son of the dictator that failed in 1986, his father. It's weird, right? But like I say, you shouldn't blame the sons and daughters for their fathers or mothers' actions. You know what I mean? Don't blame the children. Even though I guess Miss Park in South Korea kind of followed in her father's footsteps of being corrupt, right? Hopefully, Boom Boom Marcos does a great job here in the Philippines and shows that a son is not an imitation of their father. Oh, mosquito. Oh my goodness. But yeah, that's what we're here for today. That's why I'm doing this live for the aspect of Liberation Day. Like I said, I'm still amazed that there's school today. You think this would be like a day of celebration for them. Fireworks, choo, choo, choo. And so, but, I don't know. People are busy, people need money, gotta go to work, gotta go to school. And so, I guess my daughter's not taking the shower tonight. She took one last night, she doesn't need it. My baby don't stink, she smells good. All right, so we're going to continue this live for another 15 minutes, then we're going to go. So it sounds like a very productive thing. I like to get more people in my life so I can discuss living in the Philippines, discuss going about to bars, bar fighting, traveling to different places like Boracay, because I've done all that. Now, when I did all that, I wasn't doing a YouTube channel, which sucks though, because God. If I would have done a YouTube channel in 2008, when I first traveled to South Korea, who knows how many fans I would have right now, because I traveled a lot when I was single. But now I created a YouTube channel once I was married, and that limits me because I'm married. Because now when I travel, I usually want to take my wife and daughter with me. Now my wife has told me constantly, but boy, that's her nickname for me, but boy, if you want to go to Angeles City and shoot a week there, you can. Or if you want to go to another country and shoot some videos, excuse me, for your channel, you can. She's very supportive about that. Of course, she's like, don't you do anything now.
obvious.
No, I'm good. I'm okay. I may flirt with some girls while I'm in a bar, but that's about it. I'm not gonna have sex with anybody. My little titty whacker belongs to my wife. um, Plus, I came from a broken marriage, my mom and dad. So I don't want my marriage to be broken. I want my marriage to be more like my grandparents. My grandparents were married over about 40 years and stuff. They got married in their 30s and stuff. My grandmother technically was married before my grandfather, but he died very young in his 30s of a heart attack, which is amazing. Like I had another friend, Cecilia. Her husband died early in his life. I think before his 40s or around his early 40s of a heart attack. So you got to be careful, people. Check your health. Check your health, especially if you live overseas. Check your health. Try to do a checkup. I'll either go check up at a local hospital here, or I'll go to the VA clinic here in Manila. Now I love South Korea because South Korea, it was required for every citizen to do a yearly medical check. You had to go, and so you did a medical check for your health. You did it for your eyes, your nose, your ears. They did X-rays. They checked your blood pressure. They did a mental health check of you, everything and stuff, and it was free because it was required by the government. I don't know if you know that, but South Korea has universal health care. Now, universal health care doesn't mean you don't pay for medical. It's just that because the government pays majority of it, when you go to a hospital or get prescriptions, you pay a very small amount. Like I have an inhaler. Now, if I go to America, inhalers are expensive. But in Philippines, it's about $4 here in the Philippines. And in South Korea, because I was part of their medical system when I was working there, it was only about $2, I think. Yeah, about 100 won. I don't know. I got like a crap load of medicine for myself in South Korea, and it costs less than $10 for all that medicine, and that's even including some antibiotics sometimes. When what's it called? What's that antibiotic called? I can't remember what it's called. Well, it was an antibiotic, but antibiotics, prednisone, and stuff like that, what I need for my asthma and sometimes breathing and stuff. But it was really cheap. So South Korea is pretty good. I highly recommend visiting it. People think it's not a party place. It is. It is a huge party place. People think it doesn't have red light districts. It does. It does. It has red light districts. Trust me. There's a part in Itaewon called Hooker Hill. So it definitely has red light district. Now, a lot of its red light districts are not as thrown in your face like Hooker Hill. You have places like in Suwon, places near what's that, Gyeongnam-po? But it's near Times Square Mall. Like behind the mall, there's like this like entire building, and it has these windows, and these girls are sitting in the windows, just sitting there like kind of like I don't know, a sitting room and stuff, and they'll sit there, and then you walk up and talk to them. Then you'll go upstairs. They'll turn the light off, and then you'll go upstairs where nobody can see you, of course, and do your business. And so that's interesting. Or you can go to the Norabongs in South Korea, and when you go down there to Norabongs and say you want to sing, and say you're just a group of guys and you want some girls, you just go to the front desk and say, hey, can I get a couple girls to sing with us? And the girls will come, and you will pay for them to sing with you, only sing with you. Anything after that is a transaction between two consenting adults. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, so South Korea does have a red light district. It's not as thrown in your face because they're more conservative when it comes to that. I don't know. If you've ever been to Angeles City, you can tell that Korean guys are just as dirty dogs as any other guy in the world. And so, most of the Korean guys that come to here, they say they're playing golf, but most of them are married, have children, and they're literally just cheating on their wives and stuff. But a lot of Korean women, I don't know if they condone cheating, or they know about cheating, or maybe as long as the husband provides a good job, provides a good house, is a good father to their children, maybe they don't really care about the whole sex thing, because to them, I guess maybe they think it's just sex. Just make sure you have safe sex, right? There are still STDs out there. There still is HIV. Now, HIV is not as deadly as it used to be. Like if I get HIV today, I'm not gonna be super worried about it. It's literally like one or two pills you take a day, and it literally it doesn't get rid of the HIV virus, but it lowers it to such undetectable amounts that you can't even tell it's in your blood. So for me, HIVs went from a deadly disease to a chronic disease. Hell, I think more people now compared to HIV, I think more people die of diabetics, being a diabetic, than actually being HIV and stuff. Yeah, because diabetics can go into shock. I think more asthma people may die than those of a HIV person today. Now, back in the 80s and early 90s, yeah, HIV people were dying like that, but not so much now. But people still have a stigma when it comes to HIV, especially if you lived in the 80s and early 90s. You have that view. Now, if you're a younger generation, millennial, or Generation A, I think it's now, there's not that much of a stigma towards HIV anymore. Still a disease, but it's not one that's going to kill you right away. So if you can live your entire lifetime with it, it'll still be okay. But anyway, you should be more worried about things like heart attacks, strokes and stuff, especially as you get older. Take good care of your health. So keep that blood pressure down. My blood pressure has dropped a lot since being here in the Philippines. Even though I have stresses, I don't have the stresses of America. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean, right? Stresses in America is a lot different than stress here. I get some stress here when over money, sometimes with my wife, or when we fight and stuff. That's a little bit of stress, but it's not the same level of stress in America. Stress in America is like a whole new level, and so because it's just bullshit sometimes. And don't get me wrong, I still love America, and I love its ideal of the Constitution and everything like that. But we need a swift kick in our ass. Americans are arrogant. We have a hubris about us. And I think the aspect of the mentality, I was raised in the 80s, America's the greatest nation in the world. We're better than every nation. I think that kind of mentality has actually hurt America than been beneficial to America. Because this is why the majority of the world sees us as loud, arrogant assholes. Now, don't get me wrong, Australia's not too far behind us, because as I've traveled through the world, besides Americans be considered assholes and arrogant and loud, many Australians are too. So, but anyway, we got about 7 more minutes, then we're going to call this again. One of Papa's friends just stopped by. Wow. We need this to end. Feel like I need to go take a poo. Morning poo. I woke up early today. Got a little of that 1970s song, Morning Delight. If you know, right? Morning Delight. We did get a disappointment though the other day. We went to go do a zoning permit for this house to start building again, and we found out they're extending the road from the center road, extending it 50 meters in, and if we decide to finish this house, we literally have to destroy a quarter of this house. And so let me see, I'll show it to you. Like from this beam here, from that part, from all that concrete you see there, we would have to destroy all that destroyed the barber shop, so we can literally only have our house from where this like little brick line is, and we will lose half our driveway too. So of course, me and my wife decided, screw it, we're not going to finish this house. We're going to sell this house and the land, and because it's on National Highway, and because a lot of more commercial businesses are opening up here, we even have a Mr. DIY that's opening up down the street in Capocon. Our house is prime location when it comes to commercial property for businesses. So we're going to try to sell it. We put in maybe 1.5 million pesos in fixing what we have now. So we're going to try to sell this house at least for 3 million. My wife says sell it for 4 million. And if they say no, they just say, okay, I'll sell it for 3.5, or I sell it for 3. Then ask high, settle low, but that low is what you really want. And so, anyway, okay, I had nobody talking today. I had a live last night. Of course, I didn't upload the live last night because I was playing music and just bullshitting around with listening to music. And I didn't upload that because, you know, as soon as I upload that, that should be blocked automatically and copyright shit like that. I did try to throw a Soldier Boy, you know, Soldier Boy, kick the roll. Yeah, I tried to throw that on them, and they got like a little banner that came across my live saying, we hear copyright music. Hit this and know if you want to share it. I don't know, some other shit, but I was like, oh, never mind. Yeah, but anyway, we have about 3 more minutes. Yeah, I'll give you a little bit what my day's gonna look like. Yep, gonna be a rainy one. Hey, happy Power Revolution Day. Huh? Today's 40 years when you became a democracy. When Ferdinand Marcos was toppled. Did you not know that? You didn't know that? So Gemma knew that, but you didn't know that? Yeah, Marcos got toppled 40 years ago. February 25th, 1986. I know you don't care because you weren't born in 1986. Here we see Jason behind me. They didn't even know what today was. What the? Oh, this younger generation, they just don't know their history. All right. So, once again, maybe, depending on the weather, this Saturday or Friday, if Jason's free, we're going to go to Tacloban, and we're going to be looking for some clubs, similar to the way we did Ormoc City. We'll look for bars, clubs, and hopefully, girly bars. Somebody said there are girly bars, not in Tacloban City. But in, what's that one city called next to Tacloban? Palut. So in Palut, there's supposed to be girly bars there. So we're gonna search and scour. We just haven't decided what we're gonna take. Are we gonna take the little truck, which is harder to park, or are we gonna take the trike, which is slower than the truck, but it's easier to park, right? Yeah. So anyway, thank you for joining me on another Way We're Traveling Live. I'm gonna get ready to take my daughter to school. Once again, to all the Filipinos out there, happy Liberation Day. 40 years ago in 1986 on this day, you got rid of the dictator, Ferdinand Marcos, and you created a democracy, so where the people, you have the right to choose your leadership. So congratulations and happy 40 years, 1986 and 2026, 40 years of celebrating your democracy, and I hope you have another 40 years, 100 years, and prosperity to all of the Philippines and all of the Filipino people. From American person, I hope this is a great day for you. Once again, thank you for joining me on another episode of Where We're Traveling. Like and subscribe, and as always, be safe in your travels.